2 years ago, when we saw the premiere of Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power on Amazon Prime Video, the most expensive television series ever made, upwards of $1 billion for just 2 seasons of this, we witnessed a massive gaslighting attempt by the mainstream media and by Amazon themselves, in a desperate effort, despite all of the backlash towards the series, that it was actually a success. That is, of course, until the actual ratings came out, and then it was undeniable that it was a massive failure for them. One of the most expensive failures we've ever seen in history. Well, now 2 years later, here we are for season 2, and we're witnessing the exact same thing. Rings of Power on Prime put this tweet out a couple days ago. With 40 million global viewers and counting, thank you to the fans for making Rings of Power the #1 at Prime Video show in the world. Now, if you remember, this is 40 million viewers after 11 days. The first season, I feel like we remembered a similar statement. That's right. You told us within 24 hours that it had amassed 25 million global views. You didn't exactly specify what that meant or how many people was actually watching, whether that was they watched a second of it or the entirety. However, Amazon did put that statement out. Now they're pushing this out there to convince people that their $500 million season 2 that has had a massive decline in viewership, don't worry, guys, it's actually massively successful, we promise. But unfortunately, when you do look at the numbers, it's pretty easy to see right through this. More bad news for Rings of Power as Amazon reveals sharp viewership decline from season 1. This week, Amazon finally revealed viewing numbers for the first 4 episodes of Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power Season 2 on Prime Video. This represents the first half of the season with just 4 more episodes remaining. According to Amazon, Season 2 has reached 40 million viewers in 10 days, but what this means exactly is a bit harder to say. As Variety reports, it's difficult to put the stat in full context as Amazon has not defined how it quantifies its viewership. For example, 40 million could simply be the number of people who watched any portion of the available episodes. And whenever you're talking about these numbers, 25 million, 40 million, that does sound like a massive, huge number until you consider Rings of Power's budget. Let's take something like House of the Dragon. That is an expensive television series, $200 million per season. That is very, very expensive. Rings of Power is 2.5 times that. We're talking about estimates of around $450 million plus the $250 million for the rights to, J.R.R. Tolkien's work for the first season. So $700 million for season 1. And season 2 estimates are upwards of $500 million. This is the reason why, according to Amazon themselves, they said it had to be a massive global phenomenon unlike anything we've ever seen. And this is anything but that. In fact, the reason that they're tweeting out #1 worldwide on Prime Video is because Netflix has multiple titles that are outdrawing it right now that aren't of any significance, that aren't big, massively promoted things, that are just kind of their normal titles. And this is, of course, following some of the reports we've heard from Samba TV confirming that, yes, they've lost over half their audience. Season 1, 1.8 million U.S. households on Samba Smart TVs in the first 4 days, compared to half of that, 900,000 over the first 5 days for season 2. And it just continues to get more and more dire for them. When you look at the actual minutes streamed for 3 episodes debuting as opposed to just 2 episodes debuting, you can see right there, 764.7 million minutes watched. This is a complete and total embarrassment, and it has people actually asking the question, could this thing get canceled? Now, I don't think that Rings of Power is going to get canceled. If this was any other streaming service, then potentially. Amazon's a different story. Amazon is a massive company all by themselves, having nothing to do with their streaming. It's similar to Apple in that way. It's almost like the streaming service is like secondary. These aren't like entertainment companies, right? Amazon makes so much of their money, it has nothing to do with Prime Video. Apple makes all this money, has nothing to do with the Apple Plus streaming service. So I think they may just be committed to this 5-year plan, but it is a massive mistake, or 5-season plan, but it's a massive mistake if they do so. We are talking about seasons that are ungodly expensive. How did you spend $500 million on season 2 of this series? That is an actual legitimate question. Just to pull in similar numbers to what The Boys pulls in. And regardless of what you think about The Boys, that is a series that costs $80, $90, $100 million per season. 20% Less than 20% of what Rings of Power is costing. And that is why this is not sustainable. And that is why, regardless of how often they tweet these things out and figures that do indicate an abysmal drop-off from season 1, it can't do anything to change the reality. Yeah, great. That would be a massive success if you were spending $80 or $100 million on this season, but you're not. You're spending money that we've never seen before, the most expensive television series in history. You need it to be a massive global phenomenon, and it is anything but that, being beat by multiple Netflix shows currently. And Rings of Power Season 2 continues to drone on. It's almost over. We've only got, I think, 2 or 3 episodes left at this point. But as more of these numbers come out, despite the gaslighting from Amazon, it is crystal clear that this show has had a massive viewership drop-off, and that based on what they put into it, based on what they spent on this is a complete and total disaster. What do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comments section below. Smash a like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later.